Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's the Hip Hop Hotel Broker here with your weekly updates for what's happening in the industry. Hopefully, your holiday was good. Hope time with your family was even better. So, want to jump right into it on this one. So, some really interesting stuff is happening in the industry. The biggest one that you may have seen was Intercontinental Hotel Groups, or IHG, announced a partnership with Iberostar Hotels and Resorts, predominantly international. They have some really nice all-inclusive type situations. I think Antonio Banderas was like a spokesperson for them back in the day. But they got some stuff overseas. They got a lot of stuff in the Caribbean, Mexico. But basically, it's almost treating it like it's their 18th brand. Here's where it gets interesting. It's about 70 hotels and resorts, about 24,000 rooms here. But Iberostar retains 100% ownership. So what does that look like? They're basically saying, hey, we're going to be our own thing, but we're joining IHG. Why would you do that? After they've been successful for this long, why would they say that we want to join another major hotel brand? Well, IHG, I'm sure, has been looking to build up that part of its portfolio. So they didn't have to recreate the wheel. They already don't own many of their hotels, majority of their hotels they don't own. So affiliating with somebody who has 24 hotels and is like, hey, we want to keep all the real estate, that's perfectly fine. That's the model anyway. So they just were able to grow 24,000 rooms in a very timely fashion. It's in Q4. So they get to jump they get to go ahead and jump their net room growth when they report to Wall Street. So it's perfect timing. And that should be great news for them. And other thing is too, a lot of hotels are a lot of hotel brands. They announce a new brand and then they have to grow it. They have to convince people to build it or convert into their brand. They're saying, hey, we got an 18th brand and it's already 24 of them. So that's great for everybody. And IHG One Rewards, their loyalty program, where they can say, okay, this is dope, where all we have to do is just, kind of plug and play here. And maybe this is some place where we can use our points and an additional place for us to earn points. Other thing going on in my hometown of Chicago is something on the gaming front. So if you've been a student in here, my class is undergrad or graduate, I always talk about some of the fastest growing sectors are going to be specifically gaming and vacation ownership. That's kind of what I was saying over the past couple of years. I think the the Partel sector is growing very fast as well. May or may not be as stable, but years ago, and I went to University of Nevada, Las Vegas, I had a coworker where he was just like, look, man, gaming is the wave of the future. Every downtown is going to have a casino. Every downtown major city is going to have a casino. And he wasn't terribly wrong. So fast forward, Chicago announced that they were passing gaming. The other thing that I predicted, talking to my students over the past couple of years is, if you watch Governor Cuomo's updates during the pandemic, he kept talking about how easy it would be to do the budget because there wasn't any money, because people weren't out there spending, so there wasn't really any tax revenue. So since there wasn't any tax revenue, what happens? Municipalities are looking at, well, where do we get tax money from? They're looking at that all very, very differently now. So tax revenues they're going to now look a lot more closely at gaming, expanding gaming licenses if there are gaming licenses in play, potentially expanding them, and also medical marijuana, right? That's just my projections. Vices always do very well. You can tax them. It's like free money falling out the sky for these municipalities. And in Chicago, it's projected that the new Bally's is going to bring about $400 million a year to the county and state. So 400 million a year to the county and state, that's a major uptick. They definitely want that. That's going to be a 500 room hotel. It's going to be about, let me look at it up here. It's going to be across 30 acres, 10 food and beverage outlets, a major, kind of concert entertainment venue. It's going to be a good situation for the city of Chicago when Bally's comes. I'm sure there's some residents that don't agree with it and they have their own good reasons, but you can understand why the municipality would be pushing forward with it. The other reason why they'd be pushing forward with it, and here's where it gets interesting, the mayor made it very clear that there has to be a significant amount of minority participation. So they have a good amount of underrepresented ethnicities and genders in that equity stack, and also coming forward as even general contractors. So it's going to be a good situation because they're being inclusive. So it's allowing everybody to do well. So you've seen that in cities like Washington, D.C., where they had a black mayor and step forward and say, oh, we got to open up these fed jobs to all these black residents. and and the Fed contracts, and that significantly changed the trajectory for Black wealth and the DMV, similar to Atlanta with Maynard Jackson, getting all the all of these Black vendors approved to get these larger contracts. Again, significantly changed the trajectory for Black wealth, just being able to play the same game as everybody else. So inclusion definitely matters in that. So I think that this could be a second renaissance with that happening with the Bally's in Chicago. The other thing is the Smith Travel Research and Tourism Economics. They overall adjusted their outcome for the year, and they said the occupancy will be a little bit down. They haven't projected any contraction and ADR, but that ultimately means that there'll be a slight contraction in RevPAR, but that's just how they're anticipating that. Again, all this is just overall. But, it should still be noted that, RevPAR is on track for a full recovery, though, in 2025 when you adjust for inflation. So, or maybe a little bit earlier. So that's always the great news there, that we're correcting pretty well. ADR is up because of inflation. So that's the benefit. So just some things for you all to think about this week. Tap in with me, and we got our auctions coming up for Buffalo. We got tours coming up for Buffalo. Got the auction coming up for the Hampton Inn, Carrollton, Georgia. We've already completed tours for that, and some more stuff to be announced. So appreciate you all tuning in. Peace. Catch you next week.